the quarterfinals of the Champions League for Aston Villa, the last 8 of Europe's elite club competition. It's remarkable stuff, really is. Aston Villa going to take on Paris Saint-Germain in the quarterfinal stage after beating Club Brugge 6-1 on aggregate. It's a bit of a landslide victory for Villa in the end. From the first leg, of course, winning 3-1. I mean, it could have gone either way. And you look back at when Tyrone Mings cleared the ball off the line. 2 late goals from Villa, an own goal from Mechele, and a penalty from Marco Asensio after Matty Cash came on and won that spot kick. Tonight, a red card for Brugge, and then Villa scoring 3 times in the second half. Put all of that in the pot, and Villa really, in the end, have coasted through into the last 8 of the Champions League. It's remarkable how they've done it, because the league phase was superb, finishing in the top 8, of course. That felt like, and was, of course, a massive achievement. And whatever happened from there, you would have said, well, Villa have done remarkably well to do that. And, of course, reach the round of 16. I think lots of people kind of circled the round of 16 as that would be a really strong Champions League campaign, really, considering it's the first time Villa have been in, as I say, Europe's elite club competition for a long, long time now, many decades. So that would have been viewed as by many as a strong campaign, and it would have been by myself as well. That was, I think, the target. Can you then go on further? And yes, Villa can. And now PSG stand in the way of a semi-final in the Champions League. At PSG, it's going to be an incredibly difficult task to get one over on the French champions over 2 legs. Of course, Villa do have the benefit of playing at Villa Park in the second leg. You just hope that they can give a really good account of themselves in Paris in the first leg and take them back to Villa Park. And who knows what the scoreline will be after the first leg, but you just want it to be an opportunity for Villa to really put one on Paris from the get-go at home. That crackling atmosphere again, we heard it and saw it with the scarves and the tifo at Villa Park today. The 5th home Champions League match we've had, each one at the start of the game. It's extraordinary. I really haven't heard anything like that when Villa Park welcomes their team in the opposition. Into B6. It's something that I look forward to in all of these games, and something that I just don't think can really be replicated in others as well. So the fireworks, the whole lot, it's a real show, but this isn't a kind of I don't know how to put it. It's not artificial. It's Villa Park at its purest, at its best. So these are some of my best memories from this Champions League campaign will be those moments at the start of games. So again tonight, fantastic. We'll get that for PSG, as I say, and you just hope that Villa can be in a decent position going into that second leg. Playing in Paris first, as I mentioned, and they, of course, beat Liverpool on penalties. In the end, I think before the round of 16 were being played, I think everyone had thought, well, let's have PSG, and because we've played Liverpool many times, obviously down the years in terms of the Premier League, but also this season too, they are the Premier League leaders, so in theory should be, and because they finished first, of course, in the Champions League phase, they should be the best team in the competition. You obviously want to avoid that, but the way PSG played against Liverpool, maybe they're better. Well, they proved they are better than Liverpool. So the task will be enormous. So back to tonight, and I think after the red card, I think the game was, or the tie even, was pretty much done. I suppose you can rewind even from the first sort of moments. I think Villa were quite sluggish actually for the first kind of 10 minutes or so. I mean, throughout the first half actually, but in the first 10 minutes before the red card, they definitely were. They were definitely trying to play a game where trying to kill it off really in terms of managing the game. I think that was really important, and for that, that's when you're going to play with less. How do I put it? I mean, it was a bit of a slow start. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Martinez putting the ball over the top, an inch perfect pass to spot Marcus Rashford, who I was looking at him a few minutes before that, and he looked to be a little bit frustrated about not receiving the ball as much as he would have liked to from the start. I think some of the players thought, well, let's get up and at Brugge from the start, get that goal and kill the tie. It worked in a different way where, as I say, Martinez playing the ball over the top, and the right back for Brugge bringing Rashford down, denying him a clear goal scoring opportunity, down to 10 men. Tielemans with a free kick, subsequent free kick, decent save by Mignolet. So the score stayed 0-0 up until half time, when Emery makes 2 subs. Leon Bailey coming on, and of course Asensio is 2. Asensio scoring his 3rd brace in as many home matches. That's now 7 goals in 5 appearances for Villa. It's an incredible return for an incredible player, though, a player who joined on loan. Emery was asked after full time about signing him permanently, and he said, it depends, was his kind of first 2 words. And then he spoke a little bit about Asensio, how he's adapted well, but then ended it with the kind of most telling hint that he does want to keep him. And this is no big secret, of course, but he said that this player is kind of perfect for the structure, and tactically it's very important to have a player like him, was what Emery said. Again, I think we can all see that in terms of his output and what he's contributed so far. He's clearly he's certainly hit the ground running even better than anyone essentially what Emery would have thought, I'm sure. A player who Emery has been chasing for a couple of years and wanted to sign when he left Real Madrid after his contract finished there. But he decided to go to PSG. That's fair enough. PSG were obviously in a much better position than Aston Villa at that point. Now, after struggling for some game time in Paris, he's now helping Villa to potentially get one over on them. That would be a fascinating kind of match-up in terms of Asensio playing PSG. But in general, Villa, they're going to have to obviously adapt the way that they play. They will be happy to hit PSG on the counter-attack. Marquinhos is suspended. Their captain? I think he's their captain. Obviously their best centre-back as well. Suspended for the first leg, so that's potentially an opportunity for Villa to strike fear into the PSG team on the break. Keeping it tight will be really important. I'm kind of getting carried away, just looking forward to that when I should be talking about tonight still. It's hard not to. Leon Bailey, shout out to him because he came up with a clever pass just after coming on to assist Asensio. So that was good to see. I think that was his 3rd assist of the season, maybe his 4th, can't quite remember, but obviously he needs to increase those contributions in the final few weeks of the season once Villa return to action against Preston at the end of this month. Ian Maatsen scoring his first goal for the club as well. Morgan Rogers pulling the ball across Maatsen, and then I think it was deflected by Michele again, the centre-back who scored the own goal when Rogers fired the ball across in last Tuesday's win in Belgium. So at that point, again, tie was over. Villa could have probably scored more goals. Asensio could have scored just after, was it before Maatsen, I think? Made it 2-0, I think. Tielemans flicking the ball over the top. Another really impressive display from him. He's becoming a player. This is a kind of maybe a good example. If you put this Tielemans performance tonight into last season, that makes sense. It might be one of his best performances of last season, but because he's had so many this term, so many line-breaking passes, and today wasn't even his best performance of this season, not by kind of a long stretch, but those key moments where he could have probably got a couple of assists tonight, and was obviously working hard alongside Kamara and then McGinn in the second half. But the point I'm trying to make is that he's been so consistently good, played in all of Villa's Champions League games now this season, and started them also, and in the Premier League too, the only player to do that. So it's probably player of the season territory, you'd say, unless Morgan Rogers can get a few more goals and a few more crucial moments in the kind of final parts of the campaign. I think Tielemans would be your bet to win it. Where was I? Ian Maatsen, I think I was there. Again, Emery praising him after full time, which is nice to see. Again, a kind of perfect chance for him to impress tonight because Brugge were down to 10 men. He had the licence to attack, did it very well, won the ball back in the first 13 minutes in the final third, giving Villa their first chance. Ball to Rogers on its way to Rashford. Rashford couldn't quite get round to win the ball before Mignolet But yeah, that's some solid performance, and Villa at the moment, as I talk now, well, I say that, Watkins has obviously come off with a little problem. But before tonight, before kick-off, Villa were only without one player for injury, which is, obviously fantastic. Ross Barkley, the only player, still nursing a knee injury. Daniel Marlon and Andres Garcia weren't even in the squad because, of course, they weren't included in the Champions League squad due to registration rules. You can only have 2 out of... so you can only have 3 new players. That was Villa's quota, so they had to leave those 2 players out. But that just shows how strong their squad is now. And as I say, after the break, you like to think that they can regroup with a fully fit squad. Obviously, some players will now be going on international duty. Not sure about Watkins. I did ask Emery after the game, and he said it's a small problem, but he has to come off at half time, which is fair enough. I think the tie was nearly won at that stage anyway, and Watkins, I mean, even if he was capable of maybe playing a bit, I'm sure he would have wanted to, so definitely not able to continue in the second half. Villa, and Emery spoke about this as well, Villa did well though to show their sort of a dynamic, versatile, how do I put it? They've got different ways of combining between different players. Different players can take different positions. He spoke about this in the pre-match as well. John McGinn and Morgan Rogers. Emery wants more of his players to be more versatile, and we saw different players moving into different roles. Rashford being more central in that second period, and even then, the amount of times he'd pick up the ball on the left, drive it, and pull it across for different players. Pulled up one across for Asensio. So I think Rashford's, all of his assists have now come for Asensio. Again, a player who clearly has lots of quality. Hasn't quite got his goal yet for Villa since joining on loan from Man United, Rashford, but has been involved, created lots of chances, and has ultimately been involved in probably the key point in the night, actually, the red card. If it wasn't for that run he made and the sheer speed that he has to get in behind. There was a really nice view from behind Emmy Martinez when he clips the ball over, races onto Rashford, and would have, I'm sure, beaten Mignolet if it weren't for him being brought down. So it feels like a matter of time before he scores his first goal for the club. Hopefully that comes against Preston after the break. Then it's a trip to Brighton, and the game's going to come thick and fast. Then you can start to think about Paris. Emery was asked, perhaps cheekily, after the game, firstly about PSG, which was fine, and he said it will be the first time he goes back to Paris, which is interesting. Hasn't been there since he was, he left the club. I'm not too sure what year that was now, but a while ago. But then also asked about, have you got a plan to stop them? And I think it's a bit early, only about an hour. Emery was quite late, about an hour and a half after kick-off, full time, when he spoke to the press around there. And he said that it's far too early to think about that. He did say, I'm thinking about Preston, I'm thinking about Brighton during the break. But he did also mention that then they will start to gather information during that period, because of course once Villa return, it won't be long until they do go to Paris. And as I say, just try and give a great account of themselves. I mentioned in a previous podcast that whatever happens in this second leg at home, because we were bound to play a good team, be it Liverpool or PSG or whoever, even in a semi-final against Real Madrid, I think whatever happens, as long as there's nothing controversial, or Villa miss a penalty in the 98th minute or something to go through, you have to feel pride whatever happens. So from now on, Villa are the underdog in every game. Even at home, they'll probably be the underdog in all of these games. So they've, as I say, just got to give it their best, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll thrive off that underdog tag, something that Emery has done his whole career, really, in these European competitions. Took Villa out of a semi-final when they played Liverpool, and even then were quite close to going through that year. So who knows what's going to happen. And I think that's the beauty of it now. Villa are in a space where they've made so much money from this competition. Nobody is expecting them to reach a semi-final or, dare I say, lift the trophy. John McGinn did say that he and his teammates want to write their names in the club's history books. That's always great to hear, that they have that ambition in the first place. And hey, look, why would you bet against Villa? And dare I say it. But I think the key thing is that it's a huge task to go and progress even from the next stage. But you just have to feel, again, like pride that Villa have got this far. Getting to the Champions League is one thing, finishing in the top 8 is another, which guarantees round 16, that's another thing. It's going get to the quarterfinals, fantastic. The last 8, you know, in theory, Villa are one of the best 8 clubs in the world right now. You can look at it like that. That's what the Champions League says. So Villa have earned the right to be here, so why can't they go the extra step? We'll find out next month in April. It's going to be a stacked month, so much going on. McGinn also said this after the full time, that there's so much excitement to be had about Villa's end to the campaign. The Premier League, they're going for the Champions League again, of course. Wembley could be a trip to Wembley could be theirs if they get through Preston, a game which they won't be taking lightly, I'm sure. And then of course Paris, and then that Villa Park second leg again. Hopefully Villa can be in the game or still be in the tie. You'd like to think they will be. This Paris side do clearly cause a lot of team problems. They could have scored 3 or 4 against Liverpool in that first leg, so that their feeling will be, why can't we do that against Villa? Villa again will have to prove that they can compete at this level. Emery said as much after full time as well. We're in the last 8, we have to feel pride, but we want more, and we want to now show that we belong to be in these conversations of, he now checked a few teams, PSG, Bayern, Inter, Real Madrid, I think he said Barcelona as well. We know the teams that are left in the competition are the teams who stand in Villa's way in the Champions League, but yeah, see where they go from here. Preston is going to be the next game after the international break. Villa will spend, I think, 4 days in Dubai. 10 to 12 first team players who Unai Emery hopes to have there. Many others going abroad, but with their international teams. Hopefully they come back, not necessarily with fresh legs, because they'll be playing games for the national sides, but no injuries. I think that's the key. And they can hit it off in the last couple of months of the campaign. And yeah, how exciting does the picture look from here?